pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank everyone for coming tonight. We will do roll call.
Mr. Douglas.
Here.
Mr. Irwin.
Here.
Mr. Langley. Here. Mr. McDonald.
Here. Also with us, Diane Miller, our town clerk, Matt Favreau, our attorney, Mike Farrow, highway superintendent, Courtney, our water sewer department, and Bob Gwynn, our code officer, Dave, our dog control officer, Pam, our secretary, and Jim, the judge. And the public. Okay, I need a motion and a second to approve the minutes of October 11th, 2018 regular board meeting. Jim Langley? I'll second. Mel? Any discussion? All look good like normal? All in favor? Aye. Good, Jim? Aye? Aye. Okay, all four is ayes. Okay, so that passes. Okay, we'll go right to number 5, community inputs. Anyone sign up?
Yes, we have Craig Bruno. Purpose for addressing the board is the budget.
Thank you. I'm Craig Bruto. I just want to take this opportunity. I do have a copy of the preliminary budget in front of me. I want to take this opportunity to congratulate the board on an excellent budget, and also Pam, who was a big part of that. You guys did a really good job. It looks really solid and firm. The fiscal situation of the town of Peru looks really good going forward, and you guys need to be recommended on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig.
Did you mean Pam's salary was a big part of the budget?
Not enough.
Just want to make that clear.
That's okay, we're deducting more from the lawyer's line.
It's to be expected.
Thank you. Next one.
And Mark E. About the solar power.
Yes, hi, I think you all know me, but I'm Marky Moffett, and I live on Mannix Road, so I've been hearing a lot about the solar farm project that's on Mannix, and I like the project. I'm the kind of person who likes to go straight to the horse's mouth, so I've talked with Apex Solar, I've talked with some zoning board members, and I've talked with the Hamiltons, so that I could kind of hear everybody's perspective. And I wanted to come in today because from what I understand, there is some kind of committee from the town board to investigate the pathway forward for solar in the town of Peru. And I just wanted to hear a little bit about that and kind of where we stand as a town in terms of how we're going to make room for solar in town, or if we're still just investigating the possibility.
We're still looking at it. I know Bob, me, and who else? Jim. We're gonna, any kind of meeting that they had one at the Clinton Community College, a couple months ago. We're still looking at if there's more meetings and more information about it. And Bob, do you know anything else about more things coming up?
Well, there's
Or
one,
any committee?
there's actually one next week in Governor. I'm not going to go with that. That one's pertaining to farmlands too, that are going to be proposed solar farm projects. But the meeting that we had was kind of information that we gathered at the Clinton County. I know Matt was there also, and 2 members of the planning board, Richard Williams and Mark Robinson, went. That meeting was very informative. We did get a lot of information, a lot of contacts, and then I kind of informally asked people to attend a meeting where we discussed kind of what we learned at that. We have not met again. If you'd like to maybe get on that ad hoc committee, sure, we'd love to have general public involved to let them know what's going on. As far as the other project, they had a zoning board meeting last week, and it has to be there has to be more information gathered by the applicant, and we expect the meeting. I guess this would be a good time to say we've moved the meeting to November 28th. It was scheduled for November 21st, but they moved it up a week because of the holiday.
So the next one is November 28th?
Yeah, the CBA meeting will be, 7 o'clock right here.
7 p.m.
The applicant for that project reached out to me today, asking, given that this Wednesday is a deadline to provide some more
I still
information.
think we got, yeah, I know, Mark, I did not respond back to his email. I think because the motion was that they had to have
Yeah, he said he thinks he'll be able to meet that deadline still.
by the 31st.
Yeah, one thing I told him too, that the town may want to consider looking at, so to have the information available as a decommissioning plan.
That's always, and certainly that was a big part of the conference that we went to down there. Whether there's either a bond has to be posted or something, because, yeah, I mean, who knows?
Just some way to make sure that 20 years down the
Yep,
line, if the
20
project
years,
is no
yep.
longer viable, that they get the panels and everything out of it, return the land the way it's supposed to look, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
I told him with Apex, or I think that's the company he's using, they should know what that's all about, so I asked them to look into that ahead of time, so at the next meeting, we don't return it again for that information.
Yep, yep.
I just-
The wind farms had to do that.
Did they? Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Yeah, I understood that we had some legislation in place for wind farms, or guidance in place for wind farms, but not for solar.
Not for
So I just
solar.
thought I'd check in and see.
I think Bob and I kind of looked to after that first conference, there's not, for solar farms to be viable on a large scale, a lot of criteria have to be met. The biggest of which around here is proximity to a NICEAG line.
That's right.
If you're not within a very close proximity, getting to that line becomes too cost prohibitive. There's not that many locations currently in Peru that are gonna have all the things that are necessary to make one of these projects work. So if anybody's out there worried that Peru's gonna turn into a solar farm haven, that's not possible right now
Right.
with the way the infrastructure currently sits. It's
The
gonna be.
transmission lines are not.
Right.
Actually, if you go on NICEAG's website, is it NICEAG? Yeah, NICEAG
Yeah.
website, there is actually there's a map that they generated that lets you know specific areas where the transmission lines that are currently in place will be able to handle a solar project.
And most of those out here are places where the town probably wouldn't allow it anyway because it's good,
Right.
commercial industrial use, that they're not gonna want to tie up with something that you're not gonna, the town itself is not gonna see a huge return on solar farm as far as taxes and other things go, so. You're only gonna want them in certain spots.
Yeah. Well, thanks. I just wanted to hear from you guys about where things stand town, so thank you.
Anyone else? Shall we move on? Okay, we're gonna move on to number 6. Discussion resolution for Liz Tedford contract with sewer district collection system upgrade. This is redundant thing that they need. It's something that's already in place. Matt looked over, it's the same contract we've had with her. We've had to do one of these, I think, last meeting. It's the same thing, just for, what is it, not AES, but for AES, for their purposes only. So I need a motion motion and a second for Diane to read the resolution.
I'll make it. Jim Douglas,
I'll second.
Jim Langley. Diane, I'll let you read the resolution.
A resolution accepting the contract from Tedford Consulting to further the sewer collection system fiscal coordination work. Whereas the town of Peru has determined that the Peru Sewer District Collection System Upgrade Project needs to move forward, and the town seeks to obtain grant and low-interest loan funds to assist in the reducing the cost of the project to the sewer district. And whereas the town recognizes that work, generally including preparation of funding applications and documentation, will move the project forward while the town secures said grants and low-interest loans is required. And whereas Liz Tedford Consulting has proposed to complete a portion of the above work for a rate of $75 per hour, not to exceed a cost of $23,858 as set forth in the project budget for fiscal coordination. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board accepts the contract from Liz Tedford of Tedford Consulting for the above referenced work. And be it resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately.
Any discussion? It's what's already been in there for the project. It's just AES one of those things. This resolution.
Mr. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Irwin?
Yes.
Mr. Langley?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes. There. We're gonna move on right to number 7. Discussion, Peru Sewer Collection System Upgrade Project. Courtney.
Not much to report on this, other than the date we set for the public information hearing was, we set it for the 12th, which is actually a holiday. So I have called everybody's good with the 15th at 6. We can put that in the paper, and John can put it in the Gazette. I do have letters typed up that I'm just waiting for tonight to make it official that I'll hand deliver to the houses that are directly affected with the construction.
And like I told you, Courtney, if you wanna do it over the weekend, if you want, or do an afternoon, let me know, I can go with you.
Okay.
Carry the letters.
The only other thing is the archaeological list comes this Friday to start. Checking a few houses I gotta check with, I know I said it wrong. Few houses I gotta check with, make sure homeowners don't have a problem digging a small hole in their yard.
Is it a hurry up date?
I know.
Way this weather is,
It's gonna be the 50s so far.
for a couple of days.
I can get there.
What's that way said?
Anything on your end? You did have them look farther into the deeds, right, or no?
Yeah, I think they got back, they said they found nothing. Liz Tedford contacted me about a 202B proceeding we need to do, she and I'll get that taken care of. If you want to include in your letter my contact info, so if people have questions, just generally go, what, I don't know if it will help ahead of time, but anybody that gets a letter is free to call me so I can explain what it is, what the purpose is. From a legal point of view, feel free to do that.
Okay.
Any other discussion on it? Okay. Okay, number 8. Take a motion and a second to accept the resignation of Beth Lozier from the Peru Youth Committee. Beth was on the youth committee for 2 to 3 years I know of, and she's going to resign. So a motion and a second to accept the resignation of Beth Lozier from the Peru Youth Committee.
I'll make it. I really hated to see that go, but
There's a motion. Mel second. And I will let Diane read. Actually, it's just a motion and a second, I'm sorry. There's no resolution, obviously. Any discussion?
yeah. Normally this would be kind of an easy thing. I think the second, Carrie Smith, is more in line with what you would normally say. Knowing the circumstances, I think she's just falling on her sword, as the saying goes. I haven't been involved in this directly, all three of you have, and I think you've done an outstanding job, and you've reported it to me, and I've seen the information, but maybe it's kind of a protest, but I'm not gonna vote in favor of accepting either of the ladies' resignations, given the circumstances. I don't think we're doing right by them, honestly. It's just kind of how I feel about it.
It's a good point, Joe. It's a good point. It's a good point. As you know, I've had some long nights to 10:30, 11 o'clock at night with one of these ladies, and meetings that we've had here. Seeing that you said that, I will step in line with you, Jim, and not accept it myself either. Until we can have more.
They're
of us.
volunteers,
Yeah.
and volunteers around Peru are at a premium, and especially two good ones. So, just not in favor of running them off or letting them be run off. I don't think that we're, as I said, I don't think we're doing right by them.
I will stick on board with you to see if we can resolve something farther than what we have done. I mean, like I said, we've had sit-down meetings, I've had meetings at one house.
May I respect the work that you've done to it, though.
Yeah.
I mean, Beth, for one, has done a tremendous amount of coaching in Peru for a very long period of time. I think she's good.
So we have a motion and a second, and obviously with two of us at least, if not all of us in favor of not accepting it, it's gonna fail, so we're not gonna accept this motion.
We just take one for the time.
On table both?
Yeah.
Okay, so I make a motion, the other one was number 9, we're gonna table was acceptance of the resignation of Carrie Smith from the Peru Youth Committee. So at this time, we're gonna table number 8 and number 9 for further discussion down the road to see if we can get them not to resign and see if we can work something out. So I make that motion to table 8 and 9.
Second.
Jim Langley second. All in favor? Aye. Okay. So both are tabled. Number 10, discussion. Peru Central School District Solar System Project Ribbon Cutting Ceremony. We do have a date, we do have a time, we have everything. Any of the sponsors are going to be getting a letter this week from the school saying it's Saturday, November 10th, which is Saturday, November 10th at 11 a.m. We're going to meet all down at right at Hayworth Village, right down in the parking lot, and the kids are going to have something planned for a ribbon cutting ceremony, and all the sponsors, and obviously you guys, Jim and your wife, you guys will be hopefully be able to be there, being one of the sponsors. And all the other sponsors, and the kids are going to bring anyone down there, not all. So go from there. And, actually, you know what? I might be wrong on that, right? Am I wrong on that? You guys sponsored it one, didn't you? Yeah, I am right. Okay. I see you shaking your head, so I'm like, I know your name was on that list. But that will be Saturday, November 10th. The Sun and Stars will be there. And Courtney's guys, obviously, thank you guys for doing all you guys did down there. So anyone that would like to attend, that will be the day. Any other discussion on that?
What's the time one more time, Brandon?
Saturday, November 10th at 11 a.m. Yeah, the kids are all excited, I can tell you that. And they actually came out really good. They came out really good. Yeah. So that's that. We're going to move on. Number 11, discussion motion to declare a water plant generator as a surplus equipment for sale. Courtney and I have talked for, I think we've talked a while about this, but it's been up there sitting for, how many years, Courtney, 4 to 5 years?
Yeah, when the expansion was done in 2013 or 14, there was a new generator put in. So this is the original one that's been sitting there, the original from '93 when the plant was put in.
I did talk to Greg Tippins again today, just to see if he would have any kind of ballpark where we should offer, or ask, or not offer, but ask. And like he said, he's Randy, whatever you guys feel you guys can get out of it. It's been sitting for 4 to 5 years. It was put in '93, so it's 25 years old right now. It's fuel oil. It's an old generator. I know someone that might be interested in making an offer for sure. So if you guys want to put out for surplus for bidding purposes, we're not using it. We haven't used it in 4 to 5 years, and it'll be sold obviously as is. Because like I told the guy that's interested, I have no idea. Barney took him up there and showed him. He has no idea if it runs or not run. So.
You still all right with it, Courtney?
What?
You still okay with it? I mean, you couldn't even start, or did try?
Well, we don't know.
Try it.
Yeah, we don't know. But regardless, we're gonna put it out where it would go out to bid just like normal. Me and Courtney talked about this today, I would put a reserve price on it of a certain amount. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? At least minimum?
12 cents a pound?
I mean, I know what the guy's gonna offer, so I don't wanna go too far below.
What's your thought?
Minimum of what?
I would say minimum of 2,500. 2,500. What? Well, I know what he wants to pay for, so it's more than what we want. And he doesn't want to see videos or anything, so it's so I'd say a minimum of $2,500, if that's okay. Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay. So I need a motion for that.
I'll move it.
Okay. Jim,
Also,
Langley, and Mel, second. So we're gonna put it as a surplus for minimum bid of 2,500 and put it out. So everyone in favor? Aye. So we're good.
When's your closing bid day?
Give them 2 weeks. So we will say November, so let's go to November 19th. We give them a couple days extra, or do you want to go to November 12th as a holiday? What do you think?
Go a little longer, there's a lot of weird days in the next couple of weeks.
Want to go 23rd? November?
No, why don't you do it before Thanksgiving, do the 21st.
Okay, we're going to do the 21st, November 21st. Because you got election day, you got veteran, Veterans Day, you got other things, so.
Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Okay.
10 a.m. as usual.
Yep. The information Courtney has, we took pictures of the, you know, the side of it, the year, everything, the model number. Believe me, we've looked for hours, you can't find a price, and everyone I've called, they said you can't even get parts for it, so. Okay. That's that.
Doing a good job.
Yeah. He still wants, I told him everything today again, and that, I was moving along. Move along.
So you're gonna give it to Red and I'll get it in the paper?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
You may know something we don't.
Okay. So being said on that one, we're going to move on to number 12. Discussion, public comment on agenda items only. John?
You seem to be able to read my mind. The solar project, you're sure that in terms of limit, there was talk, I know, at that workshop about looking at NICEX maps, and I guess you kind of informally did that, but if you had a property owner that owned a lot of land and suddenly, are we sure that they couldn't turn it into a solar farm if, you know, if it's a huge area, they might be able to finance connecting to NICEX somehow or other?
They can always try. Most of it's gonna have to go through zoning board and planning board approval. Somebody can't just go in and stick up 200 panels tomorrow. Because there's very few spots in the town, I think, that are zoned for it. And either way, it's gonna have to go through planning board. So it's gotta go through a couple boards at least and a lot of levels of
It
review.
has to go through the zoning board first, because we don't have anything in place, John, that covers, it would be a use variance application, so it has to begin there, and then they would get.
But if you grant this use variance, which most
Still-
people seem to be in favor of, you would have a hard time turning down the second one, it seems.
Well, it still doesn't set precedent, it still has to be.
Yeah, but I mean, this property presents a fairly unique situation for this opportunity, I think, based on it being mostly agricultural land. There's a chunk of it that cannot get used for any agricultural purpose at all. It also can't get used for residential or building purposes without dumping a fairly large chunk of money in to just do some site work. So if it's approved by the zoning board, those will be characteristics that are fairly particular to this piece of property that may not present themselves in other places. There has not been any public sentiment against this. There's only been a couple of public statements that have been in favor of it. So those things are obviously in favor of the project. So granting one use variance doesn't necessarily mean a lot more would be granted. And when I say cost prohibitive to hooking up to NICEX, if it's not, it's extremely cost prohibitive. Something like thousands of foot of this transmission line they would need. That's not going to get financed because there's just not enough money in the value of the property itself where somebody would finance it. There's value in the energy that you create for NICEX and other entities like that, but there's not enough value that I think a bank would ever finance that portion of these. Anything can happen, I guess, but I'd be surprised.
Okay.
I kind of take it that, maybe I'm taking it wrong, but it sounds like it's negative. I mean, it sounds as though you're not thinking much of building, solar.
We're all looking into, it's all new, so we're getting information on it. I wouldn't say negative, I wouldn't say it that way. I wouldn't, but.
See, I see
Cautious might be.
Yeah, caution, we want to make sure, because it's new.
There's certain areas where I think solar is going to be appropriate and many areas where it's not going to be. So municipalities just need to be careful about where they allow it and under what circumstances. But I think in the right position and the right place, it's a very good idea, but there's not going to be a lot of land in Peru that lends itself to that.
So I guess my follow-up question for that, Matt, would just be, so are we, is the town thinking about putting in place some kind of legislation or some guidance so that we kind of predetermine?
Yeah, so the first meeting we had for this ad hoc group was kind of to start talking about what a solar law would look like in Peru.
Okay.
And that would take into consideration certain areas where you want it and certain areas where you never want it. You may say you never want it in commercial districts because the land is just too valuable to have a solar farm there. So you can, and the town of Plattsburgh is doing something very similar to this. They just passed that, I think, last week with a very well thought out appropriate solar law. So anybody that wants to put solar down in the town of Plattsburgh can look at this law and figure out where it can go, where it can't go, and the parameters around where it's got to be as far as screening and height of panels. All those sorts of things can be done in a law that makes the job a lot easier for the zoning board and planning board to evaluate a project because it's already gonna be spelled out.
Right. Yeah, I think the take, I mean, kind of the sense I'm getting from talking to a variety of people, not just people involved with the project, but, you know, neighbors on the road and things like that, are that people seem in favor of solar, but the caution comes in when, like, we don't want to completely change the character of the town, so finding a way to proceed, you know, to make a pathway for solar so that it fits in and we can keep the town, you know, basically what it is, just a little bit more green. So.
Yeah, you never want to take away from commercial or develop land for houses, and never for that, you know.
Thanks.
Anything else?
Does anybody feel comfortable going into a little more details about the issues on the Youth Commission?
Well, the resignation letters have become,
As far as I know, yeah.
The resignation letter spells it out a little more?
Yes, we can give you them after the meeting's over,
Okay.
because they're public. I mean,
they're a public record, so.
I'm not gonna read them, but you can have them. You know. Yeah. I would definitely give you them after.
Okay.
Can we jump back to the solar?
Sure.
I have my hand up.
No, excuse me.
Absolutely.
So, and you may have discussed this, I may have missed a meeting where you talked about it. What about just residential? So there's some homes or places that already have solars on their, you know, do you have regulations, laws now if someone wanted to put up a panel in their yard or on their roofs?
That's totally different. I mean, the projects that we're speaking of, are solar farms, just, for instance, the one that the zoning board is reviewing now is over 2 megawatts, so, which is almost 9,000 panels. So solar projects, totally different. So if someone
So
wants
is there
to-
existing laws for residential? I mean, it's separate
No,
from
the
your solar.
project would just have to comply with whatever the zoning laws are about that property. So if you're gonna do freestanding panels in your backyard, you have to comply with setbacks and those kind of
Yeah,
things.
that's right. It would just be a building permit, and because you have to have electrical inspection and stuff, so.
So you can do them in your backyard as long as you can comply with it. Like if you're gonna put up a shed, same rules.
It's a permanent
same type of things
structure.
would apply.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
About a month ago, maybe it's about 2 months ago, there was a company coming through Peru for solar. And it's a solar company that provides power to NICE. And if you signed up with them, you get a fixed, well, I don't want to say a fixed rate. Our rate can never go up. Our electrical rate will never go up from what it is right now. And if it goes down, it will drop down. And that's the benefit we got from signing up with that company or that program, I guess.
They're building a solar farm.
Up north someplace.
Moors.
Yeah. So they're building a huge solar farm, they're gonna dump a ton of energy into the grid, and then if you wanna buy that energy at a discounted rate, that's what that is.
That's what we
It'll
did.
go through NICEAG.
Yep.
There is a public meeting at the library Thursday night, forget the time, on that very thing.
And when is that?
This Thursday.
You mean
What time?
on what?
What's going on in Moors, yeah.
Yeah, okay, it's Moore's, that's where it is.
Or Moors Forks, could be either one, I'm not sure.
However, we do pay, I think it's $3 a month for that, but we would,
You get a discounted rate for
well, we just felt that it was worth going into that kind of electricity.
Any discussion?
I think anything we can, you know, latch on to that's taking into consideration the global warming.
that. That's why Bob drives a Prius.
Yeah,
You don't?
well, it would be the same thing. For sure.
I got a buggy.
You keep dragging the zero.
I think put a roof on your vest or something.
One more candy for you.
The meeting Johnny mentioned is at 5 o'clock on Thursday.
5 o'clock Thursday.
It's squirrely cold.
Okay. Okay, we need to add, though, we don't have other business on here, so we need to add a 12A for other business. Did you add 12A for other business? A second?
Second.
Second by Jim Douglas. All in favor? Aye? Okay. Jim Douglas.
I'm good, thank you.
Diane. All set? Mike?
Liberty Road is done, we just gotta go back in the spring, put topsoil along the edge, establish some grass. I did meet with Al and Carl from Clinton County Highway today regarding Davin Road. He wants me to wait a couple more weeks, and if he gets that, Bridge New York grant for the Davin Road Bridge, that will be shut immediately. So we had me hold off a couple more weeks. That's the status on that. We got into a problem Saturday night, because we don't have anything to go down that road and cross that bridge. It's 6 ton, and we're up in, the 85,000 range, so. That's basically all I got, so maybe by the next meeting we'll know some more.
On Davin Road, right?
What's that?
On Davin Road?
Davin Road.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
No.
Courtney?
We started the pumps at Valcor, we got the wiring all in, we just gotta do the mechanical end. Probably be next week now, hopefully we get 2 good days to go in and get that. And I got the report from Hanson Von Vliet tonight before the meeting, so I haven't had a chance to review it, but I'll look it over if anybody wants a copy. That's the well study. If anybody would like a copy, send it along.
Did you come to any decision on your new painted pickup truck?
No, I've been buried in other work, and unfortunately, we picked our 1-ton dump truck up from the schoolhouse job, and it's covered in overspray paint on all the glass and door panels and hood.
Actually, Mr. LaValle's general liability would have responsibility for that, just so you know.
What's the latest?
I'm assuming it's a water base, so it's a lot of elbow grease. But
Yeah, hopefully
it won't come off.
we've been down in Valcor all week, so I really haven't had time to deal with it.
What's the latest on your vacuum truck?
I don't know, I sent them an email today and I haven't heard back yet. Last I knew, they were still waiting on permits. And the new heat's going in at the wastewater plant. The NASEC turned the gas on Friday. Still gotta do some more plumbing. That'll be all switched over and off fuel oil down there.
Okay, that saves so much money, as we all know.
Oh.
That's amazing.
I did get.
Anything else?
Nope. That's it.
Bob?
If I can, I'd like to have the board order an executive session so we can talk about possible litigation.
Okay, so what I would do is, we'd do it after other business.
That's
So I'll
fine.
come back to you, and then
That's the only
we'll
thing I
come
got.
back to you then. Dave?
Nothing you want to hear. I work Monday, but I know you guys have weekend off, but I don't get weekend off.
We appreciate you.
I just wanted to see what I got. When he said Dave, I mean, it was been obvious who it was.
Anything else? Pam? Jim?
No.
No. Okay, my other business, before we get to Bob's, whatever Bob's gonna bring us in there for. I would like to, call a meeting, a special meeting it would be, for Monday, November 5th, at 5:15. The purpose of that meeting would be for discussion for the preliminary budget, for the preliminary final budget, for 2019. It's gonna be a quick 5-minute meeting, but I would like to just go over one more thing before we have our public hearing on Wednesday. November 7th is our public hearing on the preliminary budget. So I will make that motion for Monday, November 5th, for a special meeting at 5:15 here at the town.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, that's one thing. Next thing, I already asked Mel, and, or anyone that would like to do this. Mel did it last year, so the VFW asked me to ask Mel again this year if he'd be interested in doing a speech over at the VFW on Veterans Day at 11 a.m. Mel's gonna get back to me on it. If not, if someone else would be able to do that, I'll let them know, but they said just let them know even a couple days before. Okay? That's all I had now. Now we're back to you. And you would like to have the executive session, so we're gonna have to add, actually, you know what? If you wanna do the bills and pay that and then, okay. So let's go to 13 first. Discussion resolution to approve the bills, to pay the bills. Any motion in a second? Second. Hold on.
Sidebar.
You need to stay.
We're gonna pay that bill, but we gotta discuss it
Right. Okay, so we're gonna actually, we're not gonna pay the bills, we're gonna discuss what you want to discuss. So it's about paying a bill, I will take it.
Well, it's not only that,
Possibility.
it's possible further.
Yeah, so the only thing we'll do when we get back is
Okay.
do some of our bills, if nobody else wants to stay.
Yeah, right.
No. Okay, so we're gonna add to 13, or actually 12B. We're gonna add a 12B for executive session for Bob, and how do you wanna state it for, we're going in there for?
What's that?
For potential litigation.
Yes, that's what we get.
Okay. I need a motion. Jim Langley. And Jim Douglas. All in favor? Aye. Okay, we